What's up, bud?
I can't get HDPE to stick together.
Let's try welding it. Sorry it's been so long since our last upload.
If you follow us on Instagram, you may have seen that we've been working on a really big project over the last couple of months.
But due to the return of lockdown here in the UK, we are going to have to put this one on hold for a little bit longer.
Hopefully not too long though.
So in the meantime, we thought we'd crack out another HDPE video for your wonderful selves. So if you've seen any of our other HDPE videos, you may have heard us say that this material doesn't really stick to anything.
We have used screws and bolts before, but we wanted to try and find a way that didn't require any type of mechanical fastener. Since this is a new and a bit of an experimental technique for us, we thought we'd start simple and make an HDPE box by heating and melting the corners together and hoping they stick.
So if this does work for us, then great, because that means it opens up a whole range of possibilities for other HDPE projects. So as mentioned earlier, nothing really sticks to this stuff, so you can't really glue it together like you would with wood. Wood with wood. Ah. Right, Matt, the joke's coming up.
That's the best I could come up with. We planned that joke. So we're going to try something we haven't done before, and we're going to try and plastic weld the corners together using heat. We're going to try two techniques, a heat gun and our normal heat press, see which one works. Which one do you want?
I'm going to get heat pressed.
No, you're not.
No, I'm going to heat press.
Right, so we've got some scrap bits of HDPE just for an old project we're going to use as a tester.
So the plan of action, once the press is properly heated up, I'm going to try and melt both faces that we want to join together, as I think that'll make a much better bond than if we just heated the one face.
One thing we do know is that as HDPE cools down, it shrinks by about 2%. So another thing we're going to do is we're going to keep the pressure tight until it's fully cooled down. See if it works.
Once the plastic had cooled, we came back and trimmed off the excess with a sharp knife and a chisel.
We each had 2 attempts with our chosen technique, and as you can see here, my first attempt didn't stick at all and came apart after it had cooled down. The second attempt worked really well. After some further investigation, we're pretty sure that the first attempt failed due to a severe case of MBU.
Both of my attempts using the panini press worked really well. One final thing we need to do is run a quick strength test to see which joint holds up better.
So this is my one melted using the heat gun, and this is Johnny's one melted using the sandwich press. Let's see which one is stronger. Okay, so overall I think they perform pretty much the same. If I had to choose, I think the heat gun one was slightly stronger, because I made that obviously. But overall, I mean, for what we need, I think they're both going to be absolutely fine.
So it's really helpful being able to do these tests, and to be fair, both methods do the job. We do think we're going to go with the panini press just because it gives a bit more consistent heat across it, and we can have a bit more control over how much heat we're putting into the box when melting it.
One other thing it's taught us is we have to find a way to keep everything square. So a box generally wants to be as square as possible, and if you look at some of this plastic that we did so far, it's not particularly square, so we're going to come up with some kind of jig to keep everything locked together while it's all being melted.
Enough testing, should we go see how our slab's doing?
Let's do it. Isn't that just the prettiest bit of plastic you've ever seen in your life? So once we've trimmed all of the overflow plastic off with the chisel, we run it through our thicknesser to try and get it down to about 8mm thickness. Okay, so that's all of the pieces of HDPE cut up and ready to go. Now, the one thing we did mention is we want to keep this all completely square. So what we've done is we've made this simple jig, and that's going to help us apply a load of pressure whilst also making sure it stays square.
So for any of you going to throw your heat guns in the bin, hold up, because it actually turns out they're still really helpful for this process. Whenever there's 2 or more sides to heat up, the heat gun actually comes in really handy as a secondary heat source.
As the box started to take shape, we had to improvise our clamping setup with a few different jigs to make sure that everything stayed square.
To keep the lid in place, we wanted to add a few rails on the underside. However, we didn't want to heat up the whole lid again, so using some scrap wood, we just isolated the areas that we wanted to add heat to.
Last step is to sand and finish the whole box. We use a range of sandpapers all the way through to some polishing pads. If you want to learn more about how we finish HDPE, then make sure you're subscribed to our channel, because in an upcoming video we're going to detail our whole process from start to finish.
As a finishing touch, we wanted to add a little handle to the top of the lid, but as we didn't want to ruin that finish that we worked so hard to get, we just attached this using a couple of little screws. So I think we can call plastic welding a success. It actually makes for a really sturdy joint, and the box itself has even survived a few drop tests.
Solid!
It's really exciting that this works so well, because now we've got a new technique that we can use for loads of future projects. Say it again, future.
Future.
What's a future?
Back to the future.
Now we've got a new technique that we can add for loads of projects coming up in the future.
So if there's any projects that you want to see us plastic weld next, be sure to drop us a comment below with your ideas. We genuinely read every single one, so it'd be great to see what kind of thing you come up with.
Thanks for sticking with us. We've got some awesome content coming up really soon. We hope it's worth the wait.
See you later.